Hey guys, Jeremy here with Simple Life. Today I want to show you a new knife sharpening system from the Russian company TSPROF. Now if you're not familiar with TSPROF, they are the company that makes the K03 knife sharpener, often referred to as the Wrangler Star knife sharpener. I like this sharpener. I've used this sharpener a lot. This is a fantastic tool. About a year ago, they came out with a smaller knife sharpener and they called that one the Blitz. This is it right here, and I've got links in the description to review videos for these sharpeners if you're interested in checking those out. And a couple weeks ago they said, you know what, we've got a new knife sharpening system coming out. Would you like to take a look at it? And of course I said yes. So this right here is the TSPROF KADET, and I really like this one. The idea behind this sharpener is supposed to be a middle ground between the K03 and the Blitz, and it fits the bill quite nicely. Definitely more capable as far as size and variety of knives than the Blitz, but definitely a lot smaller than the K03. Also a lot lighter too. This is like heavy steel base, as is this, but this one's just smaller. So this is about a 1/4 inch steel base. We've got this arm coming up. We've got our knife clamp / rotational pivot thingamabobber, and then we've got the sharpening pivot itself up here. So I'm just going to kind of show you the features of this. I've sharpened a few knives on this, and I'll tell you, I really like this one. This might be my favorite knife sharpener of all three of these, and maybe one of my favorite ones I've ever had. So we'll kind of move the camera a little bit so you can kind of get more just the product, and I'll kind of talk about some of the features. Really interesting design elements they put into this thing, and I like their stuff. It seems to just get better and better and better. So let's just move the camera. Let's see if this will work. I think this should work. So here we have basically this arch is kind of what gives you your angle, and you see there's markings on there. Now they're not laid out in specific angles, they're just kind of reference points. If I were using this sharpener, what I would do is I would zero my angle right there. Is that zeroed out? Okay, cool. And then if I wanted to achieve a specific angle, I would set this on here, and then we can read what our angle is. Now the way you adjust this is just with friction. And the interesting thing about this is that if we take a look right here, this little nut, this bolt here, sorry, it's got a little nylon or a plastic insert, and it's spring loaded. So you can see how it kind of goes in there. And so you can kind of adjust this to keep a little bit of tension on it and then move it up and down. And I've tried it just like this without actually locking this down. And when you're sharpening, this thing doesn't move. Obviously, if I push on it hard, we can get a little movement right there. You know, if you were to lock that up, that wouldn't happen. But I don't think, I know for a fact that when you're sharpening, you're not putting that kind of pressure on here. You're not pushing down like this. You're just like that. You see this little plastic thing like a fork? That's called a park feature. And if you look at this bearing holder, you see how it's got the machine square part there? So what you do with that is you actually stick this fork, let's get this over this way so you can see it. That goes right in there, and it supports your stone holder like this. So if you're rotating the blade or if you're putting a new stone, it's out of your way. It's really kind of handy rather than having it hang down here. That is a really neat little feature. This part is removable. It's got a nice little brass tube. And the one thing I like about all of their products is that you see the way this stuff's all machined. There's like a gizmosity factor there that I just love. I like how you can see all the inner workings of it. See, we've got a spring here, got a little brass washer, and then there's a little cam. This cam lever is what releases this, so you can rotate it. Put your different side on, go from one side of the blade to the other, and then like that, bada boom, bada bing, you're good to go. I'll show you this side. Really nicely machined, very easy to use, and also the little connection here where these meet, they're kind of like two ramped surfaces so that they kind of always center themselves. So if you don't have this thing perfect, it will automatically correct itself and then lock back in. Really nice little system. Now with this one here, we've got these slots that these clamps go into, and so you can adjust them in and out. Now I have sharpened a 9-inch chef's knife and I still had some room. So I'm gonna say, without having sharpened a 10-inch knife, I'm gonna say this could do a 10-inch blade. I did a 9.5 or 9-inch, and it was still had enough room for some more. So what you'll do is if you're gonna sharpen with this, you would clamp your blade into here. They just use the regular Allen wrenches there. They give you an Allen wrench, clamp it down, and you're ready to start sharpening. The one thing I really like about this system though is its size and it breaks down really small, but it's not a huge footprint on your workbench. And it's big enough that it's not moving around. Like when I'm sharpening, it doesn't move around. It stays in place. And I think this is a real winner. This is definitely a step in the correct direction. So to take this thing apart, if you had wanted to, we can pull our stone holder off just that easy. And then right here, they've got a limit traveler, so this thing doesn't come out. So we'll pull that out, and the O-ring. And so there's basically our rod. And then this thing, you would just simply loosen it, and you can slide this over the top like that. Very nice. And then they've got this really nice little button here. I was like, what the heck? And boom, little spring-loaded plate in there, and this releases it. So when you think about this, that's a pretty small little package there. You know, you could slide this into a drawer of a toolbox. You could take this if you're going on an extended camping trip or a long hunting trip. You could take this with you. It's really not that big. It is girthy, obviously, which I think is a bonus because you wouldn't want something like this being too lightweight, but I really like the way this thing packs up. And then nice positive lock in there. Slide this on like this. This little rim spingly tightened up, and kaboom. This thing's all back together. And then we'll put our little guide rod in here. Which way do I go with this again? Like this. Nice precision fit in the bearing there. I really like that. We'll put our O-ring on here. And then this thing on here. Like that. And then again, this thing just pops into there. Actually, I like to set it up like that. Tighten it down, and you're good to go. I like to have mine set up so that when I have this park feature on, the abrasive is on the top. And like all their stones, they all use the same stone. And you can see it's basically an abrasive mounted to an aluminum plate with a 45-degree angle at each end. And that 45-degree corresponds with this little notch here to receive it. One thing I will say is that their diamond stones are fantastic. I have some of their natural water stones, and I'm not crazy about them. They don't last that well. That's just kind of the nature of water stones as well, particular water stones. But these diamonds, I've probably done over 100 knives on these stones, and they're still cutting really well. I really, really like them. And so that's pretty much it. That's how you would sharpen. And again, you can pull the over travel here so you don't come too far. The one thing I do wish is that there was an over travel on this side. You know, there's certain times if I've got a bigger blade in here, I could potentially drop this up onto the bevel. And if this was a handmade knife that I was doing and that happened, I think I'd cry. That's one thing I wish that this had was a travel stop for this way, but I think I might actually just make my own. That wouldn't be too difficult, but this thing is pretty interesting. Again, I kind of like how you can just kind of fine tune your angle. And one tip, if you ever want to sharpen to an exact angle, what I will often do, I will just take a Sharpie and I will do a Sharpie mark just on the edge that we're going to sharpen. So you see that Sharpie mark there? Now, when I go to put my stone on there and I start, you know, grinding, it's not grinding, start sharpening, I can see if I'm pulling off the Sharpie just at the very edge, or if it's a little bit up high, or if it's all coming off evenly and consistently. And so that's what I will do if I want to match an existing edge. I'll put some Sharpie on there, obviously be careful, don't cut yourself, and then you can just peel that off, and it's a really, really simple way to just match an existing sharpening bevel. Well, let's just throw a knife in here just for kicks, just so you guys can see it. These things are really easy to adjust. The K03 is a fairly tight fit. These ones are very precise, like they don't move up and down, but they're not tight. So I really, really like the way that they've got those fit together. Now, I'm gonna bring this a little closer. So I'm gonna stick this in here like this, tighten this up. There we go. And let me just throw a little Sharpie on here. So essentially we've got it in there like that, and we can just bring it in, start sharpening. I think I'm going to need a little more like this. And then if I take a look, there. So just by doing that, and you can see I was just adjusting it with one hand, I've removed all the Sharpie evenly. And so that's pretty much the angle I need to sharpen this thing to. And sharpening is just as easy as all other TSPROF sharpeners, just like this. Obviously, you need to be careful when you're sharpening knives, but particularly with this one, if I were to over travel, I could actually stick my finger into it. And then here's what I'm talking about. You see the stone is resting on the bevel there. You know, if this was a knife that I'd put hours into making and I accidentally slipped and went and scratched that bevel, oh, that'd be bad news. But something like this, my EDC knife, I'm not too concerned with it, but I do think I'm gonna take this. And you know, the other thing I could do is just move it to this side, because you know, it's not likely that I'm gonna over travel. Looks like I didn't have that tightened up very well. You know, but I guess it might actually be better to put this on this side, because ultimately if this thing comes out, it's just gonna slide out. But if this goes too far, I think there's more potential for me to get cut like that. But that is pretty much this whole little knife sharpener system. It's really tiny, really compact, and I really like it. Got this thing parked. You know, let me just take this knife out of here quick. I don't really like talking and holding things with a blade sticking out of them, especially when I'm reckless on camera sometimes. Okay. So when you think about the fact that this here is a full knife sharpening system, this is pretty cool. I like this idea. Like I had mentioned, I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. My favorite one, they've done the Blitz, and it's a cool idea. Not super crazy about it. It's too small for my liking. This one, I love it. I absolutely really enjoy this sharpener, but it's big and it is heavy. And you know, it's like how big is this arm? The sharpening arm is about as big as my whole arm. You see that? So that's pretty big. It's definitely like a commitment thing. You know, it's like I need to commit to give a part of my garage up for that sharpener. But not nearly so much with this. Not as much commitment with this KADET knife sharpener. Anyways, hopefully, you know, this gives you something to look at. I don't know how much this thing's gonna cost. I don't believe it's released yet at the time of this recording. And my relationship with them is very kind of casual. They just send me emails, say, hey, would you like to look at this and make a video? And I say, yes, please, thank you. And that's it. So I don't have I don't have much information on here. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to show you, one thing I forgot. And it has to do with this clamp part that slides. And that is this right here. On the inside there is some Teflon. And so you don't really have to worry about this like gouging or getting scratched up. I mean, obviously it's gonna wear a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of discoloration from where that nylon is riding up and down there, that center band. But that doesn't bother me. So there you go. Little nylon or Teflon wear strip in there, and this thing's really cool. I really like the idea behind this, and I'm very impressed. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions about this, leave them in the description below, and in the comment section below. And what I'll do is, if I find there's a lot of comments coming up and over again, maybe I'll address a lot of those answers in one single comment and pin that. That's an idea I got from the good guys at the Art of Craftsmanship YouTube channel and their podcast. I'll put a link to them in the description as well. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Cheers.